So we had a boat come in, or called. They lost steering. Yeah, another boat lost steering. But this one was a little bit of a mess once I got into it. And I had kind of a feeling that it was going to turn out this way. The boat was built in Turkey. So they put in some Turkish hydraulic steering system, very kind of exotic and expensive. The boat was up in Lauderdale or wherever it was at. They hired a company because they couldn't get parts for the system. This company somehow figured out a way to find an electric drive motor that would fit the hydraulic steering pump. And so they put that on. But they also had to change the pump and the control manifold. And somehow they found parts and pieces and they Frankensteined something together. Well, the boat made it halfway down to Key West and they lost steering again. So they limped into Key West. They called me. I got to talking to them and they didn't really tell me the whole story to begin with. So I started picking at it. It's like when you start pulling a string on a shirt and it just starts going and more and more and more. Well, the whole story came unraveled and I found out all that information about that. And I actually told them, I said, they spent huge money, like I bet you 30 grand at least, to have a company come from up north down and work on this system, and then it didn't work. So I just told them, I said, you've spent this much money already? Hey, Chris.
Hi, Chris. How you doing?
Good. So that with the steering, I ended up talking to a couple people, much to their dismay. I said, I'm not working on that because you guys have heard me before. Cleaning up after other mechanics is the worst job. The people are already pissed off. They've already spent a boatload of money. The results may not be good. And the guy actually called me again and was asking me for advice about who to call and where to go. And so I gave him some, and I gave him some contact numbers. Back at it, have to take the covers off the drive shaft. We're going to start that up and check that drive shaft for alignment. I don't think it's out of alignment. The pod is in alignment, and when we hooked it up perfectly. So I'm suspecting that the coupler, which has a vibration dampener in it, there's rubber discs in there. Because that pod was damaged and one of the props was cracked, he probably hit something, and when he hit something, it probably damaged that vibration dampener. So not sure though. We're going to check it out. We're starting with that first because that's the easiest thing. We did the injector test yesterday, and he's got 2 injectors, 5 and 6, that are high fuel rate, but then also the whole engine is burning 1 liter more than the port. I'm all by myself today. I think it's just 4 bolts that I have to come off. And if you guys were here, I could punch bug you unless somebody beat me to it. You've seen that probably a couple times. It's been nice down here in Key West. It's a little bit cooler, which is nice. Plus it's been pretty cloudy, so that's good. We are very close on the Polar. I picked up the prop today. I'm gonna put some gas in it. We have to mount the switch for the boost plate. We have to do a couple other things. Good morning. How you doing?
Good. You?
Good. We got to put a compass in and put some gas in it. And I think that's about it. Then we're going to take it out and run it and then put it up for sale. With that new Yamaha 200 on there, it should go quite well. I think we might have already asked this, but I'm not sure. But who can tell me how fast they think that 19-foot Polar is going to go with a 200 Yamaha on the back? How fast is it going to go? Let's get down here. I have to do a couple things. One, let's see if One Heart is here, and I need to find out if his boat is a 12 or 24. I don't know if his boat's even still here, but I'll find out. I'm guessing it's this one right here. It is.
A few moments later.
All right, just had to stop and give that guy a quote for a starter. We'll see. If he wants me to order it, I'll get it on order. They aren't exactly cheap. It's $1,200. I need to remember to call Scott Marine Power about that engine on that one on the starboard side. The main shaft seal's leaking. And here we are. All right, I got to take this thing off. So you got to take these bolts out and these off, and it comes off. Let's go ahead and get started. Here, let's put the dipstick way down here. And let's not put a knob on it. Let's put it so you have to screw it in and out. So what I did was, let's see if I get better light. Took this toothbrush. I held it very loosely in my fingers, so if it got snapped in there, rotation is this way towards me. And I put this toothbrush on there. And what that does is, if there's vibration in the drive shaft here, it will manifest itself because the toothbrush would bounce like this. But with it on there, it's perfectly smooth. Here's the next step. So I took this off, right, the cover. I started the engine, and very gently, I put this toothbrush right on here on the smooth portion of the drive shaft. Can't put it here, can't put it there, right? So I put it on here, and it's smooth as a baby's bottom. I don't know how smooth a baby's bottom is. Anyways, so my next step is I have to pull these bolts out, disconnect the drive shaft, and then I'm going to start it up again and see. I have to disconnect this drive shaft bolts. I have to start it up and see if the engine is still loping like that. If it stops loping, then I know it's something inside their pod, which this pod is brand new. So I hope to goodness gracious that it's not that. Anyways, that's what I got to do. I got to start taking this all apart. So it's going to be a while. So much for a quick morning. And of course, all these bolts will have to be retorqued when I'm done. Okay, I got the U-joint off. That's what this assembly is. It seems in good shape. It's a non-serviceable item, so I will ask the client if he wants me to get a new one. But we'll deal with that later. Now I have to see if I can get this drive shaft out without having to pull this whole back bell mouth. I hope to goodness gracious I don't have to do that. Bell mouth right here. Okay, as suspected, in this bell mouth right here, there's a big Vulcan dampener, big rubber disc connected to a flywheel. Unfortunately, they engineered it so that the bolts that are holding this drive shaft on in there, the heads are that way. So if they were this way, I could undo them and take this out, and then I could start the engine. But because they're facing the opposite direction, I have to take out all the bolts on the bell mouth flywheel cover and get this whole thing laid back so then I can get that unbolted and get that out of the way. I'm hoping to be able to do that and just lay this stuff out of the way, and I'm hoping not to have to disconnect the hydraulic hoses and all that. So we're getting there. It's going to be an all-day job and then some. I'll probably get this all apart today. That's my goal, is get it apart today, get that drive shaft off, then run the engine with it disconnected and see what happens. There went the bottom half. Okay, there went the bottom half, and I got the top half off. Let's get this, let me see if I can set you guys somewhere so you can watch. Here, will you stay? Stay. Stay. All right, we're just going to take this marker, put a marker right there. That way I know which way it came apart. I already marked the other end, so I know which way that came apart, because you always want to try to put everything back together the way it came apart. I may be onto something. I can literally take 2 fingers and move these guys. This is the forward drive shaft U-joint. It hooks up to the vibration dampener down there. This other end hooks to the drive here. These are very smooth. This one, I am struggling. I don't know if I can do it one-handed. They're just full of roller bearings. These move pretty good. However, this way is very tight. So I suspect that U-joint is our problem. So this is the forward U-joint, and you see how smooth these 2 roller bearings? So inside there, I don't know, you probably can't see it too good, but there's a bunch of roller bearings. They're just round, long steel rods, and they're with grease. But this is a non-greasable U-joint, so these both move very well. I can move them with 1 finger. Now, if I try to move it on this axis, it's very tight, and it's ratcheting like it's clicking. So to me, that means that some of the roller bearings in there probably got worn out and ground up, and that's probably where some of this dust is coming from too. These are probably dry. Probably take this back to the shop and take these out and look at it, and I'll show you guys when I get back. But first I got to make sure that I can run this engine and see if the loping problem goes away. Okay, I'm giving you guys some work. You have a job to do. Watch this thing and see if it vibrates when I start the engine. I'm going to go start the engine and I'll come right back. So stay right there. Well, I might be mistaken, but I think the boat feels better already. But the engine's still vibrating quite a bit. A little disappointing. I don't know if you guys can see it, but the engine is still shaking. So I still have driveline problem here that I need to rectify. Could be that this is no good. There's a bearing in there and it could be flopping around. So I need to get that belt off and then feel this and see what it looks like. All right, so you guys see that black cover right here? This is the supercharger right here, and the belt is under here. So I have to get the belt off, and the tensioner is under here. So I got to take that cover off, then I can get the belt off, and then I can check this bearing in here. I can also start the engine with that belt off because we're just at idle. We don't need any supercharger boost. All right, so getting that serpentine belt off is going to be a chore. I'm hoping I don't have to take too much stuff apart to get it off. I got to get to the belt tensioner and get it disconnected, but it's super tight. We might have to pull some hard lines and stuff off. Had to go back to the truck, take a little break, get something, a snack and something to drink, get some other tools. Need some 1/2-inch drive stuff for that belt tensioner.
So we have a Seakeeper problem.
Seawater or drive overheating.
Seakeeper drives are overheating. So we powered on the Seakeepers, put the Seakeeper in override for the seawater coolant, and we're gonna open them up and check and see what's happening.
Yeah, check the 28 volts will turn the DC side on, turn the screen on. And then if you want to spool it, then you need AC.
So we're trying to get the screen to work.
Yeah, I'm just checking the NEMA cable.
So another problem we have is a generator is shutting down automatically with an alarm for high exhaust. So in this case, we're going to check the coolant system, check the strainer, seawater through hull, and the impeller on the pump, and we'll see what happens. Did some checks. I checked the strainer, seawater strainer. I checked the valve for the through hull for the seawater in. Everything's open. Everything looks good. So then I come back here to the generator and start doing a few checks. Wiggle wire check. We do. We got a sensor here on the seawater pump. This is okay. Oh, look at that. Maybe that's what's causing the problem. Don't know. We'll crimp on a new connector and see what happens.
Let's see if I can sneak up and do punch bug on her. Look at what I found. Somebody's goofing off.
What are you doing?
Me? Going to the truck?
I'm coming.
Punch bug.
Wait, you didn't see it?
Yeah, I did.
Oh man, that is dirty.
I was walking down the dock. As soon as I saw you, I'm like, I'm going to get her. All right, let's go back to the truck. I got to get some tools and clean up, and I'm going to eat something. Thought I was going to take a break, but then I just ordered about $10,000 worth of parts, I would guess. Maybe not 10,000, but who knows how much that oil cooler is going to be. I'll when I get back to the boat, I'll show you why I had to order a new oil cooler for the pod drive. I was crawling around and I noticed something, and there ain't no fixing what I found. You got to replace it.
So we have the Seakeeper screen for the right side works, the left side is not working. Swap the cables between them, and this one will work, but the other one does not. So the other screen is bad. Needs to be changed.
Heading back to my engine room. I'm grateful that it's pretty cloudy today and that there's a fan in the engine room. You can see how that housing, it's all just corroded away right there. There's no fixing that side to change this whole assembly. And I believe it costs about, I think it said $3,300. I have to get a new cap, all this, bottom. That's what happens in saltwater. And this is really challenging me, getting this, having a hard time getting access to it. I might have to pull a bunch of peripheral stuff off to get to it, but we'll see. That might make my life a little bit easier. That's the cover for the serpentine belt. Try having problems getting to get it off. Now I might be able to get in there. Did I ever tell you about these Makita flashlights? These things are the best. They fold up and then you can rotate them, and they have a hook if you want to hang them. This is a 9 amp hour battery I bought aftermarket. They last forever. Oh yeah, might be getting there. I might be a little banged up after today. Okay, you're gonna be a helper. You cannot put your fingers in there. See where this belt is?
Yeah.
Can't get your fingers between here and this metal thing.
Okay.
It'll cut it off. So I'm gonna pry up on that, and you're gonna pull right here. And you're trying to get this out from around here, okay?
Okay.
So she managed to get it off. So now I can just fish this out of here. So we're good. So we can release our tension. So it's a spring-loaded tensioner for that belt. It's in a bad location. And so what I did is I knew Carrie wouldn't be strong enough to, no offense, ladies. I knew that Carrie wouldn't be strong enough to force the tensioner over. So I took this piece of rope and got it started and loosened up. And then I just got it the last little bit, and Carrie was able to get the belt off. And that's why you have to take all this off to change that belt. So that's why we're getting a new belt. Ugh. There you go. What we're going to do is you're going to go up there to the helm. You're paying attention very closely, right? Right now, pay attention to what I'm saying. You know where the ignitions are, right?
Oh, me?
Yes, you.
Oh, okay, up inside, yeah.
Yeah, you know where the ignitions are, right?
Yeah.
You're going to push the top button. It says ignition. Green light's going to come on. Then you're going to push the bottom button, and this engine's going to start. Okay, go up there, push the top button, ignition. Green light will come on. Push the bottom button and start it. And then I'll let you know what to do.
You're going to yell to me?
You might not be able to hear me, but just go do it. I can't hear you. Do what I told you to do. So I'm looking for vibration back here. Should be. All right, we still got a lot of vibration. So you know what they're going to tell me to do next, which is going to be tomorrow. They're going to tell me to take this bolt out of here and take this whole thing off of here. Okay, wrapping it up for today. I got a bunch of paperwork I got to go take care of, and I got to document everything I did here. We'll leave that for tonight. We'll get this back to the shop, the drive shaft, and we'll get that taken care of, or taken apart so I can show you what it looks like. Oh boy, how we doing?
Good. How are you? Working hard, I can see.
Oh, I'm hardly done. Got the whole drivetrain pulled apart, and
Oh, jeez.
$10,000 worth of parts to order. And
That's it?
that's it.
And hopefully you can get them, right?
Might be more.
Wow.
We originally replaced the starboard pod on that boat,
Wow. Really?
and then now the whole boat, the starboard engine, is now loping. It's vibrating, and so I had to disconnect the whole drivetrain drive shaft going from the engine to the pod, which is no easy feat. But I got it all apart.
But you can't even get to these areas to
I
work.
know, yeah, no.
You know, I don't even know how you do that. You have to be a contortionist, you know, just to get to where you
long,
need to
long,
go.
skinny arms, man.
And then you start taking one thing out, and then 5 things fall apart. You know.
You know, or you got to take 5 things apart to get the one thing apart. Trust me,
Exactly.
I know
I'll let
all
you
about
go,
that.
dude.
Know all about it. So on one heart, we got a call for electrical problems and came and loaded Mel and AJ. I kind of figured it was batteries, but had them load test the 5 AGM Group 31 batteries, and they were all bad. We keep spare batteries at the shop in stock because we seem to always go through them, and they're hard to get, especially down here in the Keys, Key West especially, because, you know, they fill all the stores up north as they come down the Keys, and then by the time they get down here, there's none left. So we keep them in stock, so we grabbed those and went and swapped them out, and they've been good ever since. Their engines start, and everything's working right. That's a win in my book.
Look at that weather.
Yeah, it's coming. You can hear it grumbling a little bit.